Hello and welcome back to Do You Even Cook, Bro? And today we'll be doing some homemade pasta. To get things started, we have some semolina flour in a bowl, and to that we're going to add some AP flour. If you want to find out about the ratio, read the blog post. So we're going to mix that up with a whisk, and once it's nice and integrated, we're going to make a well in the flour. Next, we're going to crack an egg and add a little bit of salt, and then beat that lightly with the same whisk if you want to make less of a mess. Once that's done, we're going to pour the beaten egg into the well we made, and then slowly with a fork we're going to start to integrate the flour and the egg. So starting from the outside, slowly mix that together. So that should start to come together pretty quickly. And once it starts to look like this, I'll clean the fork off and then finish the mixing with my hands. Once it's more or less one piece, then I like to turn it out onto a working board. Now that it's all on the board, we're ready to begin kneading. The dough's going to be really soft at first, but don't worry, just keep working, and the more flour it draws in, the more the dough is going to stiffen up. Now that most of the flour has been absorbed, you can see the dough is a bit more plasticky and elastic. So in case you missed the duck fat tortilla videos, you're going to knead in the same way. You're going to squish the dough down, fold it over itself, and give it a 90-degree turn, and repeat. You may have to knead for up to 10 minutes depending on how much pasta you're making, but once you start to get that non-sticky, plasticky consistency and it starts to become really hard to knead, like now, you know you're done. So at this point, roll the dough into a ball, cover it with saran wrap, and let it rest for an hour, preferably in the fridge. It's been an hour, so we're ready to get back to work. And if you're making more pasta than I am, I suggest cutting the dough up into equal portions so it's easier to work with. After you squish the dough down, you might want to lightly flour your working surface and then flour the top of the pasta so that the rolling pin does not stick. We're ready to roll the dough out, and we're going to start from the center, and if you go up twice, then roll back twice like I do here. Give it a turn and then roll in the same direction equal amount of times in all directions so that you have a nice uniform thickness on the dough. My sill pat was sliding all over the place, so I just decided to work on the countertop, which is no problem. So I'm going to continue to roll my dough out here, and you're going to probably think that, gosh, this is never going to get as thin as pasta. What the heck am I doing wrong? Well, it is annoying to work with at first, but as you can see, all of a sudden out of nowhere, your pasta is just going to start to stretch like crazy. So keep working and stay positive. So we're going to keep rolling our pasta out until it reaches a thickness of pasta, I really would say, noodles. If you're going to try to make ravioli out of it, I would roll it extra thin, and even though you're going to be rolling it thin as it cooks, it's going to expand a little bit, so it won't be as thin as you think it will be when it's done. And at this point, I'm pleased with what I've done, so I'm going to stop here and start to measure out the dough. So with the ruler, I'm going to cut nice straight edges so that it'll be easier to cut the fettuccine. As you can see, a pizza cutter does a really good job at this, and at this point I'm going to take the ruler and I'm going to make a little mark here at 1/4 inch because I am shooting for fettuccine. I'm using that first mark as a guide though, because I don't have the patience to measure 1/4 inch for every noodle. Now that we're done, I'm going to give a quick sprinkling of flour over the top so that the noodles do not stick together when I store them, and then just pull the ribbons apart. Once you've got the fettuccine bunched up, you can do a couple of things. If I'm making more pasta and I plan on saving some for later, I'll bunch it into ribbons like this, with one ribbon being a serving. However, since this is just one serving and I'm cooking it immediately, I like to store mine on a half sheet pan with a piece of wax paper or parchment paper that is dusted with flour, once again to prevent sticking, and then I'll cover it with a towel. If I'm going to store it for later, then use saran wrap and put it in the fridge. Now the only thing to do is boil it and serve it with your favorite sauce. This is a bison ragu that I'll demonstrate for you soon. Enjoy!